But it wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
After being revealed as the queen of bad PR through her Evita scam, where fans who paid were forced to watch a screen while strangers outside took in the actual performance, Rachel Zegler is in full-blown breakdown mode. Add a $50 per screen Snow White catastrophe, 5 years of box office failures, and egotistical interviews in which she likened herself to ancient art. This is very pitiful.
Headline after headline demonstrating the horrible reputation that she has made for herself because she just can't seem to keep her own thoughts in her brain.
Since people pay to watch Cats, let's discuss the biggest swindle to ever hit the London theater scene. Imagine this. You have purchased a ticket for a live performance of Evita featuring Rachel Zegler at the storied London Palladium, spending around £500 or £500,000. You anticipate a genuine performance, lighting, drama, and perhaps even a good note or two. What do you receive, though? A large screen? Yes, an enormous, exalted LED television. Because Rachel chooses to sing Rapunzel and belt Don't Cry for Me Argentina to those outside for free on a balcony rather than taking the stage as a typical paid singer.
You had paying customers were waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song Don't Cry for Me Argentina live for free to strangers on the street.
Now, the street receives live voices for free, without any shillings or other fees, and the building's screen and live stream display the credit card debt and receipt. Instead than spending $500 and a bottle of expensive theater wine, you could have watched that on TikTok while lounging on your couch. People were yelling refunds in 4 different languages because they were so furious. 4. It's likely that those outside believed there was a hostage scenario inside. Not at all. A master lesson on bait and switch PR disasters is being given by Rachel Zegler alone.
Snow White, the film that bombed so hard that it only brought in $50 a screen over Mother's Day weekend, is now somehow the #1 streaming hit on Disney+. And before you ask, you're going to say, how did this happen?
Furthermore, this is no longer even shocking. Rachel's Museum of Self-Inflicted Chaos has opened this exhibit. To be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if she opened her own theme park, Zegler Land, where visitors may pay to get punked.
So in the end, it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from.
Shall we zoom out a little? How long has this girl been in the industry? 5 years. 5, not 10 or 20. And she has accomplished something quite remarkable in those 5 brief years. Total sabotage of a career. Before she even became a box office star, she was referred to as box office poison. It's not even offensive. It's a record. 5 consecutive bad movies. I'll say it again. 5 consecutive. She seems to have an allergy to success.
If you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean? As in the films that you act in? Like the one that failed at the box office a couple months later, spectacularly? Is that the business you mean?
Not just flops, either. We are discussing setting over $1 billion worth of studio funds on fire. $1 billion with a B, that is. That sum of money would cover a whole Marvel phase. Instead, it plunged into a pit of gloom akin to Rachel Zegler's. It all began in 2012 when she played Maria in Spielberg's West Side Story and managed to win a Golden Globe. Yes, that's good for her. However, she immediately slammed her brand as if she were rushing through a PR problem.
Anyway, although I've seen lots of speculation that she's been blacklisted from Hollywood for the time being, Zegler is currently being considered for the role of Maria in the Sound of Music stage production, and I just have to wonder why on earth anyone hasn't learned anything from her previous experiences.
In Hollywood, that typically serves as the prelude to a redemption storyline. You make a mistake, vanish for a while, return modestly, support Fallon, and win back the audience. Not Rachel, though. She concluded that she was too good to be saved. Nobody is buying into her desire for a comeback without any character development.
She's very good at alienating not only her viewers, but just viewers in general with everything that she says and every social media post she makes.
Let's now discuss the one that actually made the difference. Snow White. Disney ought to have just called it Zero Heart and Snow Hype. Her huge shot was this. However, what did she do? She destroyed the 1937 classic as if it were her own. Clearly referred to it as 1937, as if that were an offense of some sort. Yes, girl, it was produced in 1937. The point is that .it is recognizable. It's historic. Instead, though, she disparaged it as though it were a student film that had failed.
About the very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know what I'm talking about.
Then she really stepped up. In the original, she referred to the prince as a stalker. A real stalker. Just because he sang in the woods doesn't mean that he's Joe from You. Then, chuckling as if it were all one huge inside joke, she boasts that scene starring Andrew Burnap may be removed from the remake. Baby, it's Hollywood. She responds, yeah, and you just played yourself, the cherry on top. Over the Mother's Day weekend, the film earned roughly $50 per screen. 50-50. It's hardly two expensive sodas. BY declaring it to be the top streaming movie on Disney+. Disney attempted to hide the failure. Isn't it convenient? No numbers, no receipts. Guys, just have faith in us. It's doing fantastically. We swear.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Fans, however, thought they were being spat on. She disregards the original content first. She then makes fun of the love tale. She then essentially implies that the function of the male lead is irrelevant. She also anticipates that people will continue to support her in spite of everything. You cannot ask for applause after slapping the crowd, Rachel. However, nothing compares to her public persona, which is an ultimate ego show. In fact, this woman likened herself to the winged victory of Samothrace. If you missed art history, that is a sculpture in the Louvre. An actual work of art, complete with missing arms. She also believes it to be her spiritual twin. You believe that you are a sacred relic because, in spite of your imperfections, people still queue to see you? People wait in line to witness road accidents too, girl. You are not the Mona Lisa because of that.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
They have transformed the once wholesome family movie into woke garbage. Look into this. From the wokeness of males. Disney's Snow White stated that Trump and his supporters shouldn't watch this movie.
And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infertility is the only global solution.
Not only that, but she also instructed her psychiatrist, a qualified medical professional, that every single part of her body should be worshipped, not valued, not respected, worshipped. My compassion has no boundaries except when someone else is on screen, she adds after that. In that case, that compassion clocks out sooner than a minimum wage part-time barista.
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
She went so far as to declare, I am a narcissist. Like informally during an interview, as though that were a nice quality of a person. Imagine uttering that aloud and expecting it to come across as charming. It makes sense why studios are reluctant to recruit her. She poses no threat. She has a ring light and is a walking HR violation, not to mention the cheekbones. Indeed, she claimed to have exhibited her dimples and cheekbones, as if she were sitting there with a vision board, pleading with the cosmos for facial bones rather than skill or, I'm not sure, simple humility, when you can merely strike a stance and hope that people forget your last film was a complete failure. Who needs acting skills?
I think there will be people who are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theatre, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by the theatricality of using film in that way.
A Disney catastrophe in the rearview mirror. 5 years later, 5 flops deep, a group of defrauded theatergoers demanding a refund, and a woman so insane that she likens herself to ancient art while performing balcony karaoke for those who didn't pay $1. In some ways, Rachel Zegler views her fans as expendable props rather than the ones who fund her work. Do you recall the proud story Chili told Jimmy Kimmel about her bathroom? As she exits the restroom, a fan naively sings Maria to her, and rather of laughing it off or expressing gratitude for the support, she says it wrecked her entire evening. Really? Your initial reaction when someone sings your big song is to run away like it's the end of the world. Who on national television even acknowledges that? The majority of famous people would give anything to get admirers who would hum a single note. However, Rachel presents herself as a victim of a show song. Wow, I paid hard-earned money for this woman's movie ticket, and she's out here calling me a nightmare for singing one line, is how I picture the fan feeling when they watch that interview.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
She continues to complain about having to act as though she loves the Snow White ride at Disneyland. You heard that right, so act like you did. As though it were a harsh penance to stand there and take pictures with individuals who genuinely care about your profession. Rachel, this isn't jury duty. The least you can do for these people who have paid for your films is to pretend to smile without acting as though it's the worst thing that has ever happened to you. Perhaps it's time to think about another career if being polite to the individuals who made you famous is too taxing. For the last time I looked, it wasn't precisely the way to success to despise your audience.
Rachel Zegler, who is the new Snow White, and she's talking about Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And
furthermore, it doesn't end there. Walking outside the Palladium and signing autographs, she is concurrently giving lectures and advocating for whatever popular cause is trending on social media at the moment. She seems unable to sign her name without making it into a miniature political demonstration. Finally, she concludes with the passive-aggressive, "That's enough now, I'm afraid." Yes, exactly. Cutting off the very individuals that are there for you is the epitome of gratitude. IT keeps repeating the same stale pattern. When supporters don't appear at the box office, treat them like unpleasant background noise and then sit there perplexed.
For a very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler. The damage had been done.
Speaking of alienating everyone, let's discuss her decision to make politics the core of who she is. She shared a TikTok with the message, "Vote for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. It cannot be negotiated. Dislike it? Unfollow. Your business is not necessary for me." Telling half of your prospective audience to shove it is the best way to express, "Please like me." She then decided it would be a good idea to post, "F Donald Trump and May Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace," after Trump won in 2024. This isn't something you can truly make up. She walked it all back as if it had never occurred when the reaction began. However, Rachel, the internet never forgets. Even if you may believe that you are untouchable, those posts will have a greater impact on your career than Snow White does on Disney's accountants.
What I mean by that is she has to say them. Rather than staying in her little skull, she has to spit them out into the world. In an interview published in late June 2025 with ID magazine, Zegler basically said that she views her platform as a responsibility to tell the truth.
Not only that, but she also had to promote Snow White while posting about Free Palestine, which drove Spielberg's camp and Disney into a complete panic. Disney prefers its princesses to be spotless and avoid making contentious political remarks when on a press tour. Does Rachel care, though? No, because she proudly states in her most recent June 2025 interview with ID magazine that she always tells the truth, even if it means putting herself in danger, and that there are worse things than her own demise. In other words, even though I'm ruining my career, at least I'm doing it loudly. Self-knowledge. Not at all. Simply martyrdom with a healthy dosage of, "Look at me, I'm brave."
She expressed on social media that she wasn't invited to the Oscars that year as the star of the Best Picture nominee West Side Story, a film that was interestingly distributed by Disney. The reason she wasn't invited appeared to revolve around the fact that this took place during the pandemic nonsense, and we know how Hollywood is.
Not to mention the turmoil surrounding her 2022 Oscars. No one nominated her. She was in London filming Snow White. The pandemic regulations were still in effect. What does she do then? She complains on social media that she wasn't invited, as if the Academy should give her a seat simply for existing. The level of entitlement is astounding. A 20-something novice who starred in a Spielberg film is demanding red carpet treatment. I apologize, Rachel, but that isn't how things operate.
Growing up in Australia, I never thought that I would stand on this stage.
And I never thought that I would be here 6 days ago.
Of course, though, she gets in as a presenter rather than as a nominee following a Twitter pressure campaign from her followers. What does she do on stage, too? She makes light of the fact that she wasn't initially invited. You're not proving anything, even if you believe you are. You're merely validating the reason why hearing your name makes folks roll their eyes.
Question here is, why is Rachel Zegler's downfall so satisfying to so many people? It's not just about her talent, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask. It's about the fact that she has consistently and routinely for years rubbed people the wrong way with her comments.
This circus is being watched by Hollywood studios. What do they observe? In terms of media, someone who is totally untrainable. She is completely unable of keeping herself out of the way, has no filter, and is 100% successful at starting backlash loops. It seems like she is throwing another grenade at her own career with every interview, post, and casual remark.
I would imagine to some viewers. Rachel Zegler is still so young, she's 24, and many of the dumb comments that she made were when she was even younger. So there is a part of me that's like, okay, I mean, we're not talking about some 40-year-old person here. This is a fetus. We are discussing a fetus.
Then there is the Evita heist, which is deserving of its own category of catastrophe. The team led by Andrew Lloyd Webber decides it's a brilliant idea to have Rachel perform live from a balcony, while the people inside, the ones who paid, are confined to seeing her on a screen. Imagine being treated like you're at a drive-in movie theater, but having paid top dollar for the experience. Outside, the freeloaders are enjoying a private live performance while applauding her enthusiastically as if they've won the lottery. The visuals are terrifying. The street is crowded, the house is half empty, and the paying customers are treated like background props while the outside mob is treated like stars.